Okay, so it's 3 o'clock. People are showing up.
Hello.
Hey, Walter. I'm really glad you're on the call. Welcome.
Hey, Brian, glad to see you made it.
Yeah, I did. I ended up getting off the road and back to the office. So
Is that your exercise equipment in your office?
yeah,
Dang.
you like that?
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you see that the Philadelphia Eagles quarterback can bench press 600 pounds
That's crazy.
and he weighs 200?
That's even crazier.
That's why he's hard to tackle.
Uh-huh. 600 pounds is a lot of weight.
3 times his body weight.
He's like an ant.
Here comes Mark Schuster. Okay.
Hi, our time is caught up with us.
Yeah, we can start anytime you want, Mike. We have, how many do we have here, Linda?
4, 8,
11.
9, 10, 11.
All right.
So I see we have a couple of new faces. I don't know if we need to do introductions all over again from December 14th, but I see Peter Pope and a couple others, or one other one. Peter, if you'd introduce yourself to us.
Yes, name is Peter Pope. I work at the Railroad Commission of Texas, and I am the current president of the Austin Geological Society.
Okay, welcome.
Thank you. Nice to meet you all.
And then Trevor Casper.
Yeah,
OCP.
I'm Trevor Casper. I'm the past president of the Lafayette Geological Society, sitting in for Joe Morris today. And I'm a geoscientist here in Lafayette, and I've taken part in these meetings before, but not for a couple of years now.
Yeah, I saw Joe's email today. Thanks a lot for your commitment here to be present even when Joe couldn't make it.
Yep,
And actually,
no problem.
Walter, you're do you have sound?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Go ahead and introduce yourself to
Okay, I'm
Houston who don't know you.
Yeah, I've got my video off, guys. I'm Walter Light, President of Houston Geological Society, and independent for 42 years in Houston. Non-op generator and non-op investor.
Cool. Thanks, Walter. And then Brian Guzman, the society treasurer. Brian.
Howdy. Yeah, Brian
no
Guzman. It's that?
I was gonna say he needs no introduction, but go ahead.
Oh yeah, just geologist, working mostly in the business development capacity these days, but treasurer for the GCAGS and HGS member and APG member and all that kind of fun stuff. So I watch the money.
That was a great report.
Looks like you're working out, Brian.
I am.
Yeah,
As much as I can when I can.
Well, I don't know if we should give it a few more minutes or we can start talking among ourselves.
Mike, one quick thing, if I might. Linda, do you have the recording on for those who are not present?
Okay. Yes, it's recording. So.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So everybody be polite. We're thinking about those who couldn't join us today. So we want them to be able to tune in and participate, even if they can't be with us.
So I think I expected to see a few more people at this point than we have. I know, Mark, it's good that you're here, and I guess James Willis, we can't really do anything without him. He's our corporate memory here. So let's give him a few minutes. And let's see, do we have a voting quorum? Certainly not from the board, but
Hey, Brian, while we're talking, I do have the 3 companies who want invoices, and Linda advises I'm just going to have James contact the key person there. That is our source of invoices.
Yeah, I mean, I made an invoice for Tellurian, right?
Right.
I could do that. But they paid via check and they mailed it. But now that we have the website set up and they can log in and make payments online, if it's an online payment, then James Hawkins will set that up.
Yeah,
If it's
I told Jeff that it generates a very nice looking invoice as they check out. So if they need one prior to checking out, I guess James could help them. But it's a really nice invoice. It has the logo on the top. It's nice font. It's super attractive. So we should use that site. What?
50,000. It would also, could you just let me know who has actually paid to date with an email sometime? Or is that another James question?
I can let you know from the ones that were mailed in physically.
Okay.
James can let you know probably the online payments.
Okay.
I can look up the online payments too, but James will do it much more smoothly.
They're on Stripe or so anybody that wants to be an admin on this, if anybody like Brian Guzman you want to be an admin on FeedLoop, I'm sure we could set that up, and then you can go in and see the registrants and that sort of thing. And you're very good with websites. I think you'll find it intuitive.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome, James Willis.
When are we going to add the registration for the events?
It's live right now. You go to the FeedLoop site, which I could send you the link in.
I've got that.
And you just go there, and as you register, there's a little tab that says add-ons, and that has the short courses, the lunches, and the social event. And not everyone's checked out. You can return afterwards and go in again if you want to, like, say, get the luncheon later, because we haven't really posted all the luncheon titles yet. We just got them, actually. So, it's not like a one and done. You can return to that and buy additional things using the same email that you logged in before.
Okay, I missed that feature.
Linda, is there a live link from the HGS website to register for
We're going to do that. Charles and I are trying to get all the advertising together to make sure we don't have anything conflicting. We just changed the early registration is going to go to March 17th. We had it previously at February 24th, and we felt that we didn't have enough. We're getting the advertising done, and it's going to roll out next week, and then it's going to be on the HGS website, in the HGS bulletin, all the society bulletins. But the things like getting the luncheon speaker stuff set, I just don't want to put stuff out that isn't correct, so that's why we're waiting. But I just want to say that there's other conventions going on that are far behind us. I mean, they're going to do something in Wichita Falls, and they don't have a schedule out, and there's a CCUS conference for APG on practically the same week, and they don't have a schedule out. And so even though it seems like we're late, we're not late. We have 75 days to the convention, and the early registration goes to now March 17th. So that's a $50 discount on the full registration. And so we'll be open to take registrations well into April and even a walk-up. So I think we're doing well, but I know that you wish you could see it live on all the websites, but we're getting there.
Okay, great. Jeff, when you get your list, will you check to see if Thunder has paid and sent artwork?
Yeah.
Thunder paid.
You
Yeah,
have
we
paid.
have your logo on the site.
We have your, yeah, your logo's there.
See, look, I
Okay.
got proof right here. You paid.
I did such thing far in advance.
I
I
deposited
forget.
that check.
Okay, good deal. All right. So at least
Yeah,
I can lower as a sponsor.
Mike, I think James Willis has joined.
Yeah,
Do we have a quorum, and should we kick off the meeting?
yeah, James, we didn't welcome you, but welcome. You just unmuted.
Yeah, my apologies. That I got kicked out of my Microsoft email by Microsoft and wouldn't let me sign in. So it took a little fidgeting I've been messing with it for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Anyways, good to see everyone. Yeah, I'm thinking we have,
Stop mewing.
I think we do have a quorum because, we have a quorum of the executive committee, definitely.
Yeah.
Let me try and expand out the screen to see everybody. No, it looks like there's no way we have a quorum on
Hello, Tom.
total.
Dallas too.
Yeah, I think we're just at an executive committee quorum.
Okay, we've got nominally a couple items to approve today. The treasurer's report and then the GeoGulf 23 budget. And so yeah, let's Charles, you want to put the agenda up there? And again, this is not a replacement for the mid-year meeting. This is a kind of a supplemental version to the meeting that we had on December 14th. And I think between the two of those meetings, we got most of the details and items covered that we have in a traditional mid-year meeting. For those who weren't here, we realized just probably too late, or not too late, but late in the game, that we hadn't done much for awards, nominations and awards, which is the ceremony that kind of kicks off the annual GeoGulf. So we took some action to get that started with Mark Schuster spearheading that, and he'll be Mark. You'll be on the agenda, of course, too. So
I've got a short presentation, Mike. Yep.
Okay, good. And Charles, is it about time? Have you flashed the agenda up there?
It should be up. Everybody
up.
should be.
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay,
Yeah,
let
we
me
see it.
minimize something here.
So while Mike's getting his screen set, you can see the items. I added one item to the agenda that Mike sent yesterday, and that is we have a date for the next meeting. Always good to get those out far in advance. So it's going to happen at the GeoGulf 23 conference at the Norris Center in Houston. Sunday, April 24th, right before the opening ceremony and honors and awards. We're reserving a room to meet, and lunch will be included. So you'll want to mark that on your calendars, and Mike will put that in part of the minutes too.
Right, for the benefit of the newcomers, to get them into the minutes here, the statement. It's something that occurs just before the awards, nominations and awards ceremony on Sunday night, which is itself is just before the icebreaker. So by getting here a little bit earlier, you can, if you're coming to the convention, you can, attend the meeting in person.
Mike, may I interrupt for just a second? Charles, you mentioned the meeting is scheduled for Sunday, the 24th. According to my Outlook calendar, Sunday is the 23rd.
Yes.
You're right. That's
I
right.
just saw
Thank
that.
you.
FYI.
Yep.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you, guys.
Okay. So since we have the voters present, let's go ahead with this is supposed to be a short meeting. The mid-year in the past has gone out to 5 and 6 hours back in the treasured past. But Brian, we can put that up.
Yeah, I'm gonna share my screen here. You can see it.
Okay.
Everyone can see my screen?
I can see it.
Okay, so anyways, this is I prepared just kind of a snapshot of where we are today and some of the things that we've done since the last time I was able to share with the board, and then kind of where we're going. So just today, we're going to go over the current account balance and where we stand. We are still taking losses in general, but I think we've kind of flatlined the past year and a half, which is good. We're not losing money, but I guess we'll find out after April if we actually going to be making money. But I think for all the planning that's been going on for the Houston show, it looks like a lot of the projections, being as conservative they are, have us coming out positive, which is a good thing. So hopefully we can turn it around this year. Current account standing doesn't have the balances paid for the grants yet. So I am going to be doing that. So I can expect that to drop, $12,000 to $15,000. I forget the exact amount that we're giving away, but it's usually in that range. And also there's some money that hasn't been deposited yet by APG because I've moved us to a new account at Chase completely. I've closed our Bank of America accounts, and so I have to update APG on the EFT payments. So here's a summary of kind of where we are. We have 3 accounts at Chase. The main account, which is where most of our money resides at the GCAGS level. Then there's the Austin account, which was from the activities in Austin through the year 2021. And those accounts usually stay open for about 2 years or so afterwards for tax purposes and documentation. And then they have the Chase Houston account for this current year. And the current balance sitting around $45,000. So, that's because we've been getting sponsorship money in. And I know there's probably another $25,000 of sponsorship money to be paid over the next 2 weeks, I would think. Jeff knows the exact number there. So that amount will grow. Typically, the account balance grows and grows and grows up to the conference, and then tons of payments go down. Or maybe a few payments happen with the hotels or the conference center. I think we've already paid some of the major ones with the Norris Center, but basically a lot of the expenses hit us in the second half, right during the show and after the show. And so I think our goal would be to get this account balance over 150,000 or something like that, depending on sponsorships and registrations, which have been coming in now over the past 2 weeks. So then we have the Stripe account. The Stripe account it's a new thing. It's called a payment aggregator. It's kind of like Square Reader or PayPal or something like that. The beauty about the Stripe account is it's seamlessly integrated with the FeedLoop website, which is the site that we are now using to manage nearly the entire structure of the conference, whether it comes to registration, managing purchase, tickets for the different aspects of registration. I know we're not doing field trips, but we're doing like networking events, and all those things are being managed by this system. So that system accepts payment online, and Stripe is the official payment aggregator that syncs very well with it. So it basically acts like an intermediary between the Houston GCAGS Chase account. Money is deposited to the Stripe account, and there is a 2.5% transaction fee or convenience fee that we have to pay for on every transaction. That's fairly standard for any merchant account or payment aggregator. The money sits in there for 3 to 5 days before it gets automatically deposited into the Chase account. So the current balance is sitting around $1,400, and I think on the 13th, all of that will move over into the Houston Chase account. But by that point, we'll probably have more money that's been, more people registered. And so it just kind of keeps recycling. So the current total right now is $267,103. Before the Austin conference, we were sitting in a little over 300,000. I know we lost some money there. I don't remember the exact amount, but we did not have a conference in 2022. We no longer have a salary to pay for an employee. And so, we're probably sitting, I think this is a good number representing about where we are today. The difference is about $34,000, but not too much. I know we have about $10,000 to $15,000 from AAPG that has yet to be paid to us. I know I have scholarships to pay, and James knows that I owe him, a little bit more than, I think it's $30,000, but some of that money comes from GCAGS, some of that money comes from the conference. So, there are still some payments to be made. Just a kind of a history chart, which kind of looks a little more positive than it had ever looked, right? And I think part of that is because, the past 5 years, we've been slowing down the bleeding, and we did not have a conference last year, which really slowed down the bleeding because we've had a bad habit of hosting a conference and losing more money than we're losing money. You don't host a conference one year and you don't have an employee, and you're not really losing money at that year. So the goal is, of course, to change that, right? So I think the Houston conference has taken a very disciplined approach. We're taking some learnings from the past 3 years on managing registration using different means. I think in Lafayette, it was done mostly manually because it was a smaller conference, but they leveraged a payment aggregator, which is pretty cost effective. This year, we are using FeedLoop, which was a technology, a website for managing registration and managing most aspects of the conference, including badge printing and everything like that. We learned about that through the West Texas Geological Society and the Southeast Texas AAPG, who've used that site, and we decided to take a shot at it. In the past, we would spend about $35,000 to $40,000 to pay outside resources to manage attendees, to manage the merchant accounts, to manage badges, and just all those aspects of keeping the conference organized, and also negotiating contracts on our behalf with hotels. Whereas this year we have pretty much brought all that internal. We're managing our own conversations, not with the hotel, but with the Norris Center. We're going with this technology called FeedLoop, which is costing us about $9,000 to basically manage all aspects of the conference. So, I think doing it this way and not going with the hotel, we have the ability to use Norris Center because that exists in Houston. I think it also exists in San Antonio for next year. So that I think is the biggest thing we can do right now is cut costs, right? And I think that's being done. And so far, sponsorships are looking pretty healthy, and registration is starting to happen. So we're hoping this year we're gonna make waves on both income and cut costs. But I think it's important that we take these learnings over the past 3 or 4 years and we prepare the GCAGS San Antonio team so that we can continue moving that direction. So just the basic organization changes. I mean, we no longer have any money at Bank of America. We don't have anybody on staff anymore. So, expenses are just lower, which is great. We need that. We need to maintain focus on the learnings we're making, year to year, and take the best ideas and run with them and throw out the worst ideas, whatever, right? Makes sense. So the Houston team is making a lot of those strides this year, and there were strides made the previous few years, and we need to take all of those and pass them on to San Antonio. And I think the biggest stride that's being made is we're leveraging FeedLoop. So special thanks to James Hawkins, who's been devoting a lot of time to being patient with all of us and teaching us how to use it properly, since he's got experience in the Midland area using that. And combining that with Stripe for the payment aggregator, so I don't actually have to open a merchant account. And it's just pretty seamless. It makes things really easy to use and keeps track of most everything for us so that we don't have to pay an outside company to do that. And it's almost a quarter of the price. So better technology, quarter of the price. It seems like a win. So far, it's running really well. So basically, we need to continue the use of something like Square, which was used in Lafayette, or Stripe in Houston, PayPal if you want, or some kind of payment aggregator that can connect to an online system that can manage registration. So, like Attendee Interactive was one that we had been using for years, like over a decade. Now, very expensive and dated. Feed Loop so far has looked really, really smooth. It's run really, really well. It's a lot more up to date, and it's super affordable.
I just want to make
way
a
more
comment to people on here. FeedLoop is actually what we're paying for includes streaming options. We've decided not to do the streaming options because of the cost of hiring the professional video crew that you need. But what in the package that we have, it does include it. What it does is it uses the Zoom licenses that people already have, and it does a really good job of rooms and switching and attendees asking questions and integrates polls and stuff like that. So we're probably only using half the software capability that we got in the bundle that we purchased. So maybe if there are people on here from San Antonio, maybe they want to know that at the level we bought it, we could be doing live feeds.
Yeah. Thanks, Linda. So I think it's been really great. I think we will continue use of FeedLoop. It's making things a lot easier to manage everywhere, even when it comes to managing sponsorships, payments, invoices, all of that, especially registration. We want to continue to look for different vendors on existing services, right? Like FeedLoop is an example of a new vendor that we're exploring, and it's making so much sense, being way cheaper, and it's the functionality is really up to date, and it's working really well for us. So existing services, we need to just be aggressive on discounts, but looking at other vendors and getting multiple bids, whether it be hotels, a Norris Center, marketing, different technologies, websites, all that. So for printing, we're printing for many, many years, but we need to keep exploring alternatives for that. I know this year we're not printing and mailing out any flyers, right? As an example of cost-cutting measures. So that's great. Any place we can do anything digital is great. I think FeedLoop comes with a digital version, right, of the itinerary that you can use the phone for.
Yeah, you can see that right now. So if you go to the FeedLoop site, you'll see it says schedule, and under schedule you can see an agenda, and there is also a phone app that, I don't have my phone, but it has a phone app, and I have to figure out how to get to our conference on the phone app. But the phone app is going to show you all the attendees, and what's nice about this is if we do have a schedule change, we can do it live, like say a different speaker is in a certain slot, we can go ahead and change that. It'll be live without necessarily having to reprint a lot of things. And that's our web page.
Am I on the right site for FeedLoop?
Yeah, you have to go to where I see you have a FeedLoop site. Isn't that the right one? GeoGolf 2023. It's the little blue tab at the top. I see you have
this
the
one, right?
Yeah, oops, somebody still admitted. So, okay, so I don't. There should be menus on the top, and I don't know why you don't see.
Yeah, maybe it's because I'm using a different.
Maybe it's because I'm using a different usually there's menus across the top that says register. There you go. So you see schedule, speaker, sessions. There's quite a bit of information here. I put little. We're in the process of adding the speakers to every session, and I think when you get to the session, you can see who's speaking and download their abstract and stuff like that. But the only one that has the speaker, there you see the times, and when I put the abstracts in there, they'll be like download, and I guess we do it on your phone or your desktop.
Right, and then registration is all done here. You enter in everything, ticket information and prices. Now, do we have the links set up for field trips yet, Linda, anywhere on this site?
The field trips, after a long discussion with James, we have 4 field trips, and it would cost the group a lot of money to use FeedLoop just because these people don't need the badges. When you go on a field trip, you don't have to wear the big badges. FeedLoop would charge everybody on the field trip for the badge plus overhead. And so what we're going to do is Brian had the great idea of direct payment to Stripe. So on the this website here, go under field trips. You see at the top field trips, there's one, I put the NASA one on there because I'm just starting with that. And so you'll see if you scroll down, there's a sign up form and it's still not working. There's a sign up form and then there's a form which doesn't work yet. And so,
Okay.
when I get that fixed, all the field trips will have a sign up form and then on the sign up form it has the direct link to go pay. I think we're going to let people decide to pay till April 7th. I find it hard to pay so early and they've got your money and everything, and I think there's a lot of hesitancy to pay for field trips before absolutely sure you can go on there. So we're going to give people till April 7th to pay, but we'll use these things to we'll find out who wants to go, and then we'll figure out who's going to pay to go. I think it's going to vastly improve field trip attendance because when you see something like $600, which is what the Hill Country field trip is, even that's not that much because the hotels are included. People are like, oh, I don't want to pay for that, and then they don't come back to do it later. So I like this. See how it works. But the short courses are on the registration site. So you just pick the short course as an add-on, and then you can check out. Or you can check out without the short course and return later and add it. So we'll see how that works.
Right. So basically I was just showing here, if this bar would disappear, the actual link, if you get a payment, if you click on the link to register, it pulls up with this online payment portal. And if you enter your information, you pay, it tells you what you're buying, a ticket to field trip number 1. And then it actually shows up on the back end of our Stripe account. So this is our Stripe account. It keeps track of the different payments, view all customers. Well, that didn't work right for the first time, but that's fine. It keeps track of all of our payments here and how much, transactions we've had in the last 7 days in the previous period, succeeded, payments here. You can see people are already registering using the site and it automatically populates here, early bird, event, early bird. Somebody did this. What is this one? Is that a field trip?
Yes, right. So the field trips have that funny character string there.
So which one is the 225? That is the
Yeah, so we're going to give those people a $25 refund because they got before we reduced the
NASA.
price of the trip. Yeah, so we'll give them a refund.
Yeah, that's the NASA field trip, right? So yeah, it's really nice. It connects everything, but it's really all connected through this site.
Yeah.
So this is the feed loop site right here. And they register and all that connects to the back end. And then the Stripe account sends everything to Chase. I got to sign in again, but.
Yeah. And when I registered for the conference, you get a really nice receipt.
Yeah. And then Chase automatically populates that money here. So, they will deposit money from from Stripe here. So you can see these are all the Stripe automatic payments that are coming through. So it's a kind of nice suite of technologies. The bank is connected to the payment aggregator. It's connected to the website, and it manages all the registration. So, that's a little bit beyond what I was needing to talk about, but I had it pulled up, so I thought I'd share it. So, consider leveraging more volunteers to use this technology. We don't have to pay someone to manage all that for us, which we're not doing, right? And make sure that all this stuff is taking a little while for the Houston team to learn, navigate, and understand how to manage it. And I think it's going to take every team a little bit of time to do that. But if we are passing on those learnings year to year and helping the next team kind of on that handoff, I think we're going to make some good habits that are going to save us a lot of money and keep the society moving forward in a positive direction.
Good. Thanks, Brian. Hey, Peter, did you have your hand up?
I have a question. Austin Geological Society uses PayPal as a payment aggregator, and the payments go into a PayPal account. And my observation is that it can be difficult to get the money moved from PayPal into our bank accounts. Is Stripe sending it directly to the Chase account?
Yeah, I don't have to do
Yep, okay.
anything. I connected the account. I connected the bank account on Stripe, and it automatically makes deposits for me every 3 or 4 days.
Okay, super. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'm trying to
Thanks,
find
Peter.
that section, but if you go here to home, see, it's expecting to make another payout of $1,400 basically on the 12th. Right?
Okay.
So, Brian, thank you for that. Good presentation. And can somebody make a motion to approve the treasurer's report?
I thought the only thing I did not bring up was before you do that, Walter, stay inside, Walter. We had a piece about trying to open up an investment account. Did I not? There we go. Setting up an investment account.
Right.
So the only thing I really want to do at this point, now that I've got everything under control and we got a sense of how much money we might go plus or minus in a given year, I'm thinking about moving about $100,000 into an investment account and exploring a variety of options, whether it be CDs, mutual funds, bonds, basically whatever makes sense for giving us a return on that money. As for the longest time, we've just been, since before I became treasurer, it was just sitting in a checking account, which doesn't make any sense. So that's the only other thing that I want to be doing over the next month or two. Sorry.
Great. Thanks, Brian.
I'd like to jump in, make a comment, Mike, when I can.
Yes. I don't see the screen that shows everybody, so I don't know if anybody has their hand up or anything. But go ahead, Charles.
Brian, I think this is great. I think that the experience from APG is about 15 years ago. Instead of being in CDs, we got into index funds, and APG would have been lost without that income. We know that even on just a SPY or a stock market index, it's never guaranteed to go up, of course, every year, but on the trend, and hey, GCAGS has been around a while. APG's been around 100 years. Hopefully it'll be around for a while longer. I would certainly encourage what you're doing to get a better return on our investment. And even now, CDs are paying 4 or 5%. But I think that, so do you have a recommendation for us at this point? Warren Buffett says just get a general broad market index, and
right,
it works.
My recommendation. I mean, I can tell you what I'm doing with my money, right? Like I have a little bit in all of that. Like I do have a CD for the next 6 months because the returns are like 4.5, near 5%, like you said. But I do have money in an index fund and a few mutual funds. And so, I think it's just diversifying and making sure you pick the right funds that are well diversified. But I think that would require a team, the board, to maybe sit in on that conversation with the company we want to work with, and then go from there. So
one takeaway from APG, for years, they paid a group to advise them, and there were huge management fees. And basically, they didn't get better performance. Actually, I think they got worse performance than just buying like SPY, an ETF with no management fees. And I pointed this out like 5 years ago at a foundation meeting. And it was like, I said, that's what my mother does. And, you don't need to pay a heavy duty financial advisor. So if there were a group or a team from GCAGS to consider that, I think that would be great to bring a recommendation forward of some balanced approach. But we really should vote on it soon, maybe at our April 23rd meeting, if we can get a proposal. What do you think?
maybe even sooner. So, yeah.
Sooner would be great.
So,
Sooner would be great.
So I met a geologist. Who worked for Anschutz, and he moved into the financial sector, and that's what I've been using. And I mean, it's kind of cool to have a master's degree geologist who did his financial stuff at the same time. It's kind of a hybrid. So, that's who I've been talking to about maybe exploring that, and that's who I use. But it could be anybody or anything, or as you said, no financial management fee.
We have.
Okay, I'm gonna jump in here. Whose voice is that? Do I hear? I can't see in the screen.
Yeah, I was just going to
Yeah.
say, foundation went entirely to Vanguard, and I could. The APG Foundation has about $45 million there, and it's very low fees, and we could connect to the same person who coordinates that at Vanguard.
Okay, so we're going to be losing Mark in about a half an hour, and he's going to be delivering the progress on the nominations for awards night. And we've got actually two places where we need to vote too. So if I can ask that someone propose that we a motion so we can vote on the treasurer's report.
Okay, I make a motion to approve the treasurer's report. And
Any second? Seconded by whom?
I'll second it. Walter.
Okay. So show of hands for a vote and saying aye.
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 I,
James, can you help us out here? Do we get enough?
It's actually it's okay for everybody to vote, but it's only who's representing the society members, representatives. I see Trevor. I don't know Peter Pope. Peter, who are you representing?
I'm Austin Geological Society.
Okay. And Walter Light, my apologies. Y'all might have already said this before I joined in.
Yeah.
But anyways, the general board are the society representatives and the executive committee. We do not even have close to a quorum on the regular board, but I think it's still appropriate to vote. It looks like everybody that's qualified voted in the affirmative. The real vote is the executive committee, which we do have a quorum as long as we retain Mark for our later.
Okay.
GCAGS budget approval. So I think this passed.
So we can make a statement that the treasurer's report has been voted on and approved. Now, I think it's probably time to turn it over to Mark because he's got a major part of this meeting and he's not going to be here till the very end, possibly.
well, don't we need Mark to vote on the budget for GeoGov 23?
That's why we're trying to do all this stuff.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Mike. And, I'm sorry about this, folks, but I was not expecting that this would be more than about an hour. So let me quickly go through the awards update. We have just for the awards committee, there's another meeting planned Monday as well. But what I'd like to do is just step through the slide pack briefly, and then maybe if we can cut to the budget on GeoGov 2023 subject, that should still be around. So with that, let me go ahead and share my slides. Okay. Swap screens. All right. Okay, so for this group, just a couple of bits of information. So the awards committee, as we formed it for 2023, comprises James Willis, Mike Erkenbeck, Travis Helms, Tom Ewing, Deborah Zachary, and myself. We had sent, or Mike had sent a note out to the GCAGS association members requesting nominations by February 13th. Just as a point, we've only received one nomination that I'm aware of, and unless James knows otherwise. I know some others are in the works. Well, let's take stock Monday, but my feeling at this point is we probably want to delay the awards committee meeting that was scheduled on the 13th of February to the 20th. And so we'll make a call on that real time, just to ensure that we get as many nominations as possible for the awards. Then the intent is for the committee to read the nominations and determine awardees on February 27th, and such that we can meet James' deadline for the transaction volume, which is essentially early March. So we've put forward 1st of March as that deadline. So the awards that we are discussing are basically the special awards noted here. And so you can see, I'm getting some background noise. So if you've got your mic on, I don't, thanks. So these are the awards that we're soliciting nominations for, and I'll step through each of those in the succeeding slides. So the first is the Don R. Boyd Medal for Excellence in Gulf Coast Geology. The details here are, I'll share this pack with this group and send it out, but it's also information that you can access through the GCAGS website. It includes within the links the past awardees. So this information may be helpful for the association members, just to ensure that they're not nominating somebody who just received the award last year or last couple of years. We've got the honorary membership award. And again, there's the link to the past awardees. There's the Distinguished Service Award with the link. The Special Accommodation Award. The Statesmanship Award. And by the way, there's only been 2 times that this award has actually been given. Doesn't mean that we can't do it again. The Transactions Dedication. And last year, or I should say in 2021, Bob Laux received this. And then if there is an outstanding earth science teacher, we could accept nominations for those. And that's basically the list of the awards that we're soliciting for. So all the information is here. I'll get this sent out. I guess I could just do this in real time to everybody who's on the invitation, so they have that information. And for the awards committee proper, folks, I will let you know Monday if it looks like we have nominations or should reschedule for the following Monday or thereabouts to meet. So let me just pause and see if there are any questions on that.
Yeah, are there actual nomination forms available someplace?
There's yeah, they are on the website, and the last slide in the pack I'll send around, it has the nomination form. Jeff, I think at this point, unless folks say otherwise, an email with supporting information would suffice for the nominations. So I would say that don't worry so much about utilizing the form.
Okay.
Charles? Question?
Yeah, I'd just like to say, thank you, Mark, I think that these resources will really help all of us contribute to the process. So thank you for that. I also think that the last year, or the GeoGulf 21 in Austin, was such an outstanding job that I personally would like to see a lot of people recognized that worked on that convention with various awards. And I think those who know them best really need to nominate them. I could nominate a lot of folks from that conference, but I think that it would be appropriate to recognize them by those who work closely with them.
Yeah, I think I know I've been in touch with Linda, the previous AGS president, and she has suggested some names. It sounded like she was preparing some nominations coming from Austin Geological Society. I don't know the status on those. So again, we may see some late state nominations for that. But thanks for that comment, Charles.
Yeah, you had an all-star team, and they really need to be appreciated.
Thank you. Yeah, that we have some nominees coming, and thank you for the kind comments.
So, Mark, we can reach out to our local societies, committees that handle academic, reaching out, because we have a large number of teachers and educators that we recognize informally within HGS. Would they be appropriate?
I think so. I haven't been involved previously with this particular award, Mike, but it looks like, this is broad. I think it's this one, the Eleanor Hopkins Outstanding Earth Science Teacher Award is really designated for K through 12. So if you have somebody in mind, get them nominated, please.
Right.
I tell you, this is the difference. This is probably where we can make this biggest difference with the pipeline for geosciences.
Right. Well, I would, there's a few representatives from the local societies here, so I would remind them, to explore that, see if there's any outstanding teachers in your town, in your organization. And I'll get it in the minutes here so that local society presidents who aren't here can get the word too. And I'll get the minutes out on that.
Is there a reference to past awardees? It's easily accessible, so we're not nominating somebody who's already received awards?
Yeah, just in the pack. Sorry, I switch up the Zoom because I was trying to find in the pack. I'll reshare again. There's links
to previous.
So,
okay.
For example, this is a special accommodation award. If you hit that link, you'll go to the site that has the past awardees.
Okay, got it.
So, and I'll send this around right now so everybody has it.
Hey, Mark, are you completed your?
Yeah, unless there are other questions, Mike, I think completed. And then just a reminder for the folks participating in the awards committee that I'll contact you Monday.
Okay, we can talk about at that time we can talk about the papers and posters from your convention.
Sure.
Okay.
Tom here. Yeah.
Yeah, Tom.
Go ahead, Tom.
Before Mark gets off, just a reminder that to Charles and the team for this year, the coming convention, that the transactions dedication is traditionally and always done by the team for the convention. It's not done by Honors and Awards Committee. So it's really totally up to you all to who to have and getting the citation, getting everything together and all that.
Yeah, thank you, Tom. I appreciate that. We'll we're happy to take that on. Does that sound good to you, Mark? Do you want to?
Oh yeah, that's great. And I think you
Want us to handle
mentioned that before. We just kind of lumped this all in, but it is specified, I believe, in the description of the dedication.
Okay, good.
Okay,
Okay,
well,
so-
Mark, we jumped ahead a little bit to accommodate you there, and we also need you to vote on the the GeoGulf 23 budget. So Charles, you want to bring that up right now?
Yeah, let's get right to the budget. So what we've done here is we've run, hi everybody, I got to tell you at the beginning, we are really excited about GeoGulf 2023. What a great team that we have. The quality of the content, you've heard me speak before. I think that we're really going to make a significant meeting and good science. So for the budget, we ran two different scenarios, the 200 estimate, attendees, and the 400. And I'll show you at the end that if we have more than 400, we have a way to estimate the budget there. But I think we've tried to be conservative and complete in these numbers. And Mike and I had an opportunity a few days ago to run through it in detail. So let me run down the income and the expenses, and then I'll quickly get to the bottom line. So in fact, I'll just give you a sneak peek. It looks like in both the min and the most likely cases will be positive, but that's, of course, dependent on a lot of unknowns. So for the 200-person estimate, we used the $350 early bird registration fee, and that's how we got the $70,000 and the $140,000. We are estimating, I'll just highlight line by line, $15,000 of income from exhibitors. We, thanks to Jeff Lund, who's not only the general vice chair for the meeting, but our sponsor chair, we already have $48,500. I think we're going to do better than that by perhaps $10,000 or $20,000, maybe more.
Actually, we're at 56 right now.
Okay, well, I used what I had. Let me write that down. Good.
We'll give you a
56.
cushion there.
Yeah. The education field trips, we lumped the field trips and short courses together for under education. And the field trips and short courses are budgeted to break even. So what I mean by that, you'll see that some of the sponsorship funds, like $5,000 from Beryl, Mike Party, go specifically for field trips and short courses. So we've applied that. So our expenses plus sponsorship and income are meant to break even or to make a little bit of money. There's no income from the icebreaker because that people pay their registration and they get the icebreaker included. The entertainment at the Moran Hotel, we've now scheduled the icebreaker Sunday night. We've scheduled a Monday night party. So the Norris Conference Center is adjacent to the Moran Hotel, and there's many hotels in the area. The Moran happens to be a very nice one that's connected to the Norris Conference Center. And they have a beautiful fire pit bar with an open pool patio on an upper deck. You can overlook the whole city center. It's quite nice. The entertainment there this is from the registration. We're going to charge $65 per person. We have $5,000 sponsorship dedicated to that. It's going to cost, we're going to need another sponsor, but we're looking to make that revenue neutral as well. The Monday luncheon, all the luncheons are meant to be revenue neutral or somewhat positive. I think the lunches are about $35 they cost us. There'll be a buffet lunch, but we're charging $65 per luncheon. But then there's, of course, other costs for the use of the hotel. So basically, we're being conservative and making them revenue neutral when we'll probably make something out of that. We're going to have 2 luncheons on Tuesday. And I didn't see any interest income to include, and I don't have any other incomes right now to include. So you can see the total income for the 200 and 400 person scenarios about $200,000 and $300,000. I'm using geologist numbers, which means that I kind of round off. So 200 to 300,000 of income. I'll take it down through the expenses. So the registration, the feed loop module that we discussed is a wonderful savings. And we may have some extra costs for paper and badges. And if we get high numbers of attendees, there's a few extra charges for feed loop. So we wanted to be prepared for that. The production layout, that includes continuing the tradition of the transactions. James Willis and team have been very reasonable to do this work for us and do the pocket program. And it also includes, if we have to make some edits, a little bit of money for editing. Printing, if we can reduce the printing costs, we will be delighted to do so. We used recent year numbers for all of our printing and wanted to make sure that we should have enough. Signage, we have down for 3,000. I was going to get rid of bags, but I was reminded that it's always nice for people to have something that they can use. So we kept the bags. The cost for the exhibition space is calculated here in the facility fee, the conference center down here on line 32. So there's no extra cost for the exhibits. I think there is some electricity and internet, and I included that down in line 32. Here's the field trips and short courses. You'll note that there are about 5,000 more than the revenue, and that's zeroed out by the dedicated sponsorship. I wanted to be generous on the icebreaker on Sunday. The exhibitors, really, that's important to them and to everyone. We want to make sure that there is pretty good refreshments and nourishment, and that is the main food and beverage that all attendees for the conference will receive on Sunday night as part of their registration. The entertainment is the Moran Hotel. That's a Monday night ticketed event, and that is that's dependent on the sponsorship. And we're planning to, we're seeking additional sponsorship, and we're co-sharing with the SIPE's Houston chapter because they're a pretty entrepreneurial geoscience group that I think is going to make for a fun party, and we want to engage a lot of the independent community as part of this. And anyone who attends this Monday night social event, which I think is going to be, we can hold 150, perhaps up to 200. Think of this as like the Austin barbecue. It's a ticketed event for those who want to go to a special networking party. And for anyone who goes to this, they have to be registrants of the conference. And I think this will work to our favor because a lot of the local independents want to go to this for the networking. And we have asked, this is going to help us recruit them to register for the conference because they have to be a conference registrant to go to this. The all convention luncheon on Monday, that's going to be Jack Schmidt and Jessica Watkins. I think that's going to be a phenomenal event. Again, it's budgeted that to revenue neutral, same as the Tuesday luncheons. We have 2 Tuesday luncheons that I haven't told you about. We just signed them up. One of the Tuesday lunch is going to be the Chevron geophysical manager talking about the latest geophysical techniques and how it's helping with Gulf Coast, new investment in the Gulf Coast. And I've challenged Jeff Nealon at Chevron to talk about some of the imaging yet to come. We all know that imaging and definition of the traps in the Gulf Coast is critical, and geophysics makes that possible. So we want a visionary, thought-provoking luncheon. And the second luncheon will be a GCS SEPM luncheon from Mike Sweet, who's recommending Daniel Minicini. Some of you may know Daniel's work. He's interviewed hundreds of sedimentologists and geoscientists, and he's learned the secrets to their success. So he's a very engaging and entertaining speaker. Thanks, Brian, for the comments about our convention's innovative use of the registering module. I also want to point out what I think is another best practice to pass forward for San Antonio is that this conference, unlike previous, has a zero management fee. And that is accomplished by working with the facility, in this case, the Norris Conference Center. They have a talented staff that knows how to do things. And this job now falls on the general chair to interact with the hotel. So this is no longer a significant $30,000 or $40,000 expense as it's been in the past. And earlier this morning, we appointed a new committee chair for on-site. He's going to be the on-site committee person to work with us to make sure things go smoothly. And we'll have a team of volunteers. The fellow's name is David Height. So basically, this is going to help us with check-in and all of those other things that we used to outsource. We're going to do it with volunteers. There's always the other category. This includes a lot of things: poster boards, webpage costs. I need to give a shout out to Linda here because we have had some hard webpage costs to get a programmer to help us with some things, but Linda's done an incredible job, all on her own time. What otherwise would have cost a substantial more than 20, 30,000 probably for web costs. It's easy. We all know web costs can get run up pretty quickly. So we have some web costs. We also need a couple of travel fees for some of our speakers like Jack Schmidt. If you're an Apollo 17 astronaut, I think we really need to help him with his expenses. And Jim Pindell, God bless him, is putting on 2 sessions for us and running a short course and coming all the way from England. So we need to help him a little bit. And we're trying to get Art Christensen to be our photographer gratis as in the past, but I haven't heard back from him. So we may need to seek other options. So that's pretty much captured in the others. One more thing that I think is kind of innovating is our advertising. And I'll show you in a second here. We've created a one-page ad for the APG Explorer that I think is going to attract a lot of registrants. It's going to appear, we just sent it in today at noon, and we're going to send a copy to each of you asking that you share this with your societies, perhaps print it. We'd love to see this big one-page ad put in the HGS Bulletin and other society bulletins. That's where we need your help. In the past, we had this thing called a pre-convention announcement that we would normally spend $20,000 or $30,000 to produce, printing, layout, and postage. By using the APG Explorer, we're putting our payload on their rocket. So we're going to give them a page that they're going to lay out for us and that they're going to mail for us at a much more efficient rate. The conference center, the AV, the San Antonio folks that are planning to use Norris, each room costs $500 a day. It has an AV package. We have some days we have 5, 6 rooms. This includes internet in 2 of the rooms. So the breakfast, we decided that people who are largely commuters in Houston are probably going to come already breakfasted. And when we did the numbers, if we gave all of our several hundred attendees breakfast and beverages throughout the day, it would be $100 per person, and we would be negative. So unfortunately, we're not going to do that for everybody, but in the speakers breakout room, where our speakers and session chairs and volunteers, in that speaker ready room, we will have breakfast and we will have beverages throughout the day because we have to take care of the contributors who are taking care of us. Credit card charges, we just estimated for 4%, that may be aggressive. So as I say, we're trying to be conservative here. I don't think the charges are going to exceed this. Brian, if you have any other guidance, let me know. But we wanted to plan for that because that's a hidden fee that a lot of times doesn't get recognized. We are meeting on Monday with the Norris Center. We're going to ask them about what's required. We want to make sure if an EMT medical staff, as in past meetings, is an option, that we consider that as well. And we budgeted for the GCAGS meeting on Sunday, 12 to 3, the one that we added to the agenda, when all of us and others will meet in person. We'll have a lunch for everybody and we'll have a room rental. And we always think about something for speaker appreciation. One option, of course, is different gifts, various items. I'm thinking that we would also like to include a celebration, maybe a month or two after our convention, with our session chairs and speakers. And we want, Tom Ewing, we want to involve you and the San Antonio team and John Cassiano and Dallas and everybody who's involved in the technical program, so that you'll be invited too, so we can pay it forward. As we thank our star performers, session chairs, and content providers, we want you and them to interact. So we're going to try to put together an event, social, to do that. So when you total it all up, our expenses are, you can read 176 and 227. The net in the 200 person case is about $16,000. So we think that's pretty positive. We think that our chance of getting 200 is pretty strong. Don't forget, we have 120 presenters, 100 talks with co-chairs and 50 posters. If we just register everybody who's a presenter or a co-presenter, or we should be, as Linda points out, 200 seems like a pretty solid number. And I think that we have a very reasonable chance with all of the marketing and with your help to get to about 59, 60,000 in the 400 person case. And so Walter, you asked this, Walter Light, if you're still on the call, you asked I love this question in a previous meeting. What's the marginal cost per attendee and what's the marginal profit per attendee? So if we get 100 people, more than 400, our profit at this level is about $150 a person. So that would be an additional $15,000 for every additional 100 people that we get. And if somebody wants a free registration, like a student who's going to work in our registration booth, I can tell you what it costs me. It costs me $200 to give them that free registration in hard fixed costs. So I would say that's our summary. We're excited. We think this will be a good infusion of great geoscience. I think there's pent-up demand and interest. I think this will be conservative. And I hope that we're forming a new prototype for GeoGulf meetings for the future, with some best practices that we can share and pay it forward.
So Charles, appreciate you putting this together. It's very concise and simple to follow. So that's always great. My question is, this is something I brought up before. One of the things that we start off every conference with is seed money, right? The $20,000 injection.
Yeah.
So I would propose that we add that to the expenses, because what I would like, and I know that's going to put you negative on one, but you built in a bunch of slack here, so I'll let you fiddle with it. But I would propose that you put the seed money as an expense, because that money will go back to the GCAGS mothership.
Yeah.
And I want to measure success, and this is my opinion, measure success that takes that money into account, because it's got to go back to the society. And if we give you $20,000 and you come out with a net 16, but then you got to pay me 20, we're actually negative 3,700, right?
So thank you, Brian, for that. So I had that in my budget. I had $11,600 of seed capital, the $5,000 for the Norris down payment. And by the way, to command this facility for a $5,000 down payment took a lot of negotiation, which keeps our risk and pivot point low. and 6,600 in feed loop. So I had that in there, Brian, and if we put that in there, it would reduce both numbers by, it's a fixed number, by 11,600. But we are, in the $5,000 we've down paid for the Norris is actually, when you look at line 32, the conference center, 17,000. Okay. See, that actually includes the 5,000. So if I put the seed money down as 5,000, I would just reduce the future payment on line 32. So I guess what I'm saying is it would zero out.
Okay. And you got an additional 7,500 in sponsorship income. You haven't. You're actually okay with that.
Yeah, keep it coming.
Well, that was my only comment. So you have that. So whenever we make the deposit, you start out with $20,000. So at the end of everything, you're going to have to pay $20,000 back to the mothership. So I know you've used around 12,000 and you have that spread out, I guess, to the existing costs. But I just want to make sure we capture the full 20. However that is represented here, $20,000 should make it. I want to remove that from your metrics so that you look at, all right, after pretending that 20,000 didn't exist, what's our expenses and income? Where do we finally fall? And then, because I know in the past we've had other proposals put together where we said, look, we came up with a profit, but the 20,000 wasn't taken into account. And once you take it out, it's like, no, actually it's a negative 5,000. We have now lost money as a society when we start to put it all back together. So that would be my only comment.
Yeah, I think that if I were to put the 20,000 in here, then I would reduce the 20,000 of expenses in various other columns. So I think it nets. So I think the nets that are shown are accurate, is what I'm saying. But I get that we could put the 20,000 in here, but it would then be deducted. I think it would offset.
Right.
But you're not using the full 20, you're only using 11, so you probably need about 9,000 or something in there, Charles, extra.
Yeah, I guess so. Like put the remainder, because you're not using the full 20 yet.
Okay.
Mark, are you okay for time?
Yeah, I'm going to stick on till 4:30. So if we can,
Okay.
Otherwise I may end up being divorced. So
You want that?
I'm going to stick on till 4:25.
I've got a couple of quick questions.
Go ahead, James.
For advertising, what exactly is the $5,000 cost?
It's to the APG Explorer and for a full page ad and possible other advertisements with either APG or other societies. We don't get a complete free ad.
So is APG doing a layout for you? Or are they just publishing the Explorer?
They're publishing a full page ad in the Explorer. We get a quarter page, and for an upcharge, we get a quarter page for free, and for an upcharge, we're paying to make it bigger. Let's see if I can't.
Okay, that's my question there. So who did the layout?
Linda.
We did. Volunteers.
Okay, you need to contact APG, and we need to get on the horn with some of our society representatives, because every society gets a quarter page per year that typically we try to get them to donate to GCAGS so that we could get that full page ad published at no charge with APG. So there wouldn't need to be an upcharge if Lafayette, who we have on the horn with Trevor, if he agrees to donate the LGS space, which we've done many times.
Which we would again.
If we've got representatives for others.
My understanding, it's a quarter page if all the societies donate, because we did a quarter page in 2022. I was communicating with APG, and unless they misled me, they told me that all the societies had to get an agreement to have a quarter page ad. So if things have changed, that'd be great. It wasn't a full page ad; it was a quarter page ad for free. And so we're going
Yeah,
to
I think
pay
that's misinformation, Linda.
Oh, okay. Didn't know that. Well, maybe we check with APG, find out we can get a full page for free because we can email all the society people, and I did that last year, and I never heard from two of them, but they accepted the quarter page anyhow.
So in 2019,
Yeah.
we had 3 societies donate their quarter page to us, and they were the first 3 we asked. So it was very, very easy. If the local society is not using that quarter page for anything, they're happy to give it to us.
Okay, so LGS is
Same
Trevor?
with 2020. It was the first 3.
Yeah,
Sometimes Houston Geological Society uses theirs on their own events, which is understandable. They're so big. Maybe NOGs every now and then, but it's normally not a challenge to get a full page ad. The challenge would actually be, and what we should push for is we've got 13 local societies. Conventions could theoretically be doing a couple of one-page ads leading up to the conference. But I think there's just a little check in on that, Charles.
Yeah.
Because I think you could claw some money back from that.
That would be great, James. And anybody that would donate that's on this call, and Mike, as GCAGS president, can you help us follow up with all of the societies? Anyone that'd be willing to donate their quarter page ad, we'd be glad to do it. Because
Action item.
yeah, we haven't been billed yet, but that was the understanding that if we used one quarter page, we would have. But if we can do that, that'd be great, James. And I would love to see this. And we don't have graphic artist help. This is all us, Linda, mostly using PowerPoint, just drafting it up. But in a glance, this and I can put it up here. This is going to have the highlights of the luncheons, the sessions, the short courses, the field trips, and the granularity of the great sessions and the talks. And that's what scientists like data, right? And that's what always draws me in. When I see the content, that's what makes me want to sign up. So I think getting this out is going to be a huge help to registration. So it'll appear March 1st. And if we get some support, we could have it again April 1st. That would be fabulous because it would give us probably hundreds of additional registrants.
Okay, are there any other challenges or questions about the budget?
Yeah, a couple of questions up on the top part. If you could scroll up a little higher. I think all the way into the
left
income portion.
Can you see it?
Can you drag it to the right a little bit?
Yeah, there we go. The numbers on the field trips and short course seem ginormous. Do you think that even the number of people that 33,000 just seems really high? I don't know what you were estimating numbers.
Yeah,
I didn't remember seeing anything on expenses for field trips.
Yeah, let me tell you how. So James, the goal is that their field trips and short courses are going to zero out. So the total revenue, we have 4 field trips, including a $600 field trip. We use 20 attendees for each. That might be optimistic, but and then the short courses, we've got 3 short courses with globally recognized experts, Pindell, Snedden, and Rowan. So we figured 20 in each short course, and they're like $200 a short course. Anyway, the total gross revenue gets us up. That's how we got that number. So and then if we have 400, we thought we might even have greater participation. But that's offset down here with the field trips and short courses. The gross is about $5,000 more because when in the budgets, individual budgets for each event. They're meant to zero out. So we needed the $5,000. They zero out with the $5,000 sponsorship from Barrel. So we have to deduct that from here. We have to dedicate that from this column.
And did you allot overhead? Because we're using the Norris Center on the weekend, and I thought that we had put overhead in for there's room rental
Yeah.
and there's a
Yes.
buffet lunch on 2 days, so there's expenses there.
Yeah. Well, that's part of when you have the individual budgets for the field trips and short courses, when you roll them all up, they were designed to break even. So including including some speakers needed some help, including the facilities, including the lunches. So that was all included in that.
The field trips expenses are basically the vans. So none of the people leading field trips are asking for any money to lead a field trip. And, you know, the attendees are either getting their own lunch or they're picking up a lunch. So very minimal costs on that. It's just the vans. We don't know how many vans we're going to get because we don't know how many people. And so it's, you know, pretty hard. Charles just had to throw some numbers together. But the field trips will be scalable. So, you know, you don't order more vans than you have people. So, you know, I think we're going to end up at zero, but probably, you know, it's hard to do it very exactly at this point.
Right. It's, you know, you're always kind of guessing numbers. And Charles has seen this. You play around with one thing. What if we get this many? Oh, we make more money. And it could start getting optimistic. So better to see conservative. I guess my question was, I'm seeing a big, in effect, income for the education, but it sounds like maybe some expenses are embedded in the expense section, but there's still some missing expenses, which is seemingly puffing up your income.
Well, we put a lot of expenses for the field trips and short courses and a lot of income. So it all zeroes out. So here's the for me, the bottom line. We don't make money on field trips and short courses. We don't make money on exhibits. Maybe we make a little money. What we make money on, is everybody listening? Sponsorship.
Yep.
And that's why we have an ACE sponsorship chair, and we make money on registration. The money we make on registration is $81 per attendee in the minimum case because of the fixed cost, and $150 in the 400-person case because we're dividing the fixed costs by more people. So that's where we make money on convention registrations. And we increased the convention registration price this year from $325 last year in Austin, or last time in Austin, to $350. I would have loved to raise it more, but we wanted to be kind to people who we understand. A lot of people who come to GeoGulf appreciate that the prices are reasonable for what they get. One of the challenges, as Linda will point out, is our competition, the CCUS conference that APG is holding. We're Monday and Tuesday of the third week in April. The CCS conference is like what, $600 a person for
early. That's the early. It's $800 to walk in.
And I don't know if you guys are going to the Heart Energy Conference. It's a one-day energy conference on ESG stuff, and it's $800, $900, or $1,000. So I think for 2 days of geoscience, we are the best bargain out there.
Charles, I'm going to have to jump off mic, Charles. Yeah. I've got another Zoom call that I've already delayed 30 minutes. I want to say you've done a lot of work on your budget, but I honestly, having gone through this with a couple of conventions already and events under the HGS, you're undercharging for both your field trips and your short courses, and maybe even the registration. The lead here are people that have been doing this more frequently in the current situation, and I understand you got to try to keep it but you're going to lose money if you don't bump everything up a little bit. And maybe that's 10%. Maybe you plan to make $50 on the field trip and $50 on the short course. I mean, you know, if you can go to a convention and tick all the boxes for $1,000 these days, that's probably a pretty good deal. And you're not even anywhere near that, apparently. So, you know, think about a person that's not necessarily constrained by budget, or everybody that might be spending $1,000. And what does that buy you? But I'm not going to make the recommendation that you look really carefully at your costs. I mean, what you're charging folks for both the classes, because you're going to lose money, I promise you. You're going to lose money because you're not making any money. If you plan to make money instead of plan to break even, you're going to come out better. And you may not, at the bottom line, you still may break even, but you haven't lost it on everything you're putting out there as options.
Well,
And that's all I
Walter,
gotta say.
we're charging more. We're charging more than we have. We're charging like $225 for a 1-day short course, which we used to charge $150, and we charge $195 for a short course. So the 2-day short course with Mark Rowan is like I think $350, and then we have a few student slots for a discount that our company is going to help pay for the student discounts. And I got to tell you, but people want to see faces in the audience. They don't want to teach a class to 5 people. So nobody knows what the real market is out there.
Yeah, there's a balance there, but I'm going to warn you that it's not going to look pretty when you get it all in. Like right now, I'm going to San Antonio. My hotel room is doubled what it was this time last year. Same room, same hotel. And so you're not being realistic with where you think the economy is. And I got to get off the call, but I'm going to put that in there.
Well, I just want to respond before you get off. We're going to make at least $60,000 for this conference. So we are, I think we're properly priced. Our prices are reflected in talking to all of the organizers, the volunteers. So we've done a fair amount of research. I think we're a good value, and we're not going to change our prices at this time. They're already on the website, and we already have registrants. But we are planning not to break even. We are planning to make a good amount of money.
Okay. There you go. I got to go. Talk to y'all later.
Thanks, Walter. Okay, Charles, are we ready to vote on the budget? Do you think the extraneous conversation here has changed things? I don't. I think we're ready to vote.
Yeah, it just one comment, Charles, because this looks good, and I feel, you know, on a probability basis, you have a really good likelihood of making some money off this. The one maybe point I would make or suggestion is with regards to speaker appreciation or any of the expenses that are post-meeting, you may want to make those provisional on actually having a net profit.
Yes, that's a great idea. Thank you, Mark.
Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and ask for a motion that the GeoGolf 23 budget as it's presented is ratified, approved. Show of hands for approval.
You need it.
I'll second the motion.
I'm sorry.
Need a motion and a second.
Okay. Who are the ones that?
A motion.
Brian. Okay.
To approve.
Seconded by.
I'll second. Mark.
Okay, Mark. So all in favor of accepting the budget? Show of hands. Okay, so James, have we got it, guys? My screen here is all screwed up. I can't get it.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Did I hear you go aye, Mike?
Aye. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Then yeah, we've got it by the not for the full board quorum, but we do have it for the executive committee quorum.
Okay.
So it passes.
All right.
Technically, a full board is to approve these at a future meeting.
Okay. So the motion is approved, and Mark, you can. Thanks for staying around a little.
Yeah,
extra.
and thanks for what you presented, Charles, and you know, it looks good, and I'm excited about it. GeoGolf 2023.
Thank
Hey,
you.
Mark, you got to run before you get divorced.
Yes, I gotta go. I really do. Bye-bye.
Okay.
Okay,
Mike?
well,
Can you hear me?
yeah, who is 13? Yeah, who is this?
This is Travis Helms. I know I'm probably not a voting member on the board, but it sounds like a great plan that Charles and Linda put together, and I'm in favor of it. So thank you.
Okay. I'm glad you spoke up. I was trying to figure out who your code number was. Travis. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And so Charles gave us a pretty good rundown of the convention by speaking through the budget. But there's any other update items, Charles, that's on the agenda here for this?
Yeah, let me, somehow I've lost the agenda. Here it is. Oh, good. Here's the agenda.
Hey, Charles, hang on just 1 second. I'd like to ask the group, or particularly the speaker that's identified as Ulysses, Ulises. Can you unmute yourself? Maybe he or she's away. I think it's AGMP.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Charles.
Ulysses is MGP.
Sorry?
Hi, yes.
Yeah.
Hi, sorry, yes, I'm from the AMGP.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
we're
was
going to
invited
have,
by, sorry, yeah, I was invited by Clara Valdez. Probably you remember her. And she invited me to this meeting.
Great. Thanks for joining us.
thank you, Ulysses. So, Mike, I just want to take 10 seconds. This is the flyer. We're going to mail it out to everybody after the meeting. This will be in the APG Explorer. We'll work to get as many quarter page credits as we can. We're going to ask for help about that. But anybody that we need your help, this is a good thing that you can share with people and a good thing to put in, to publish in the local society bulletins. So we'll send that out. It's got a, that's, rather than repeat the highlights, we'll just send you the highlights.
Good. Okay, so this meeting has already gone on longer than I thought it would, but are there any other board approval items or any other kind of items that we should be discussing here? Bear in mind, we'll have one more meeting that's on the 23rd. And we hope that we can get everybody to come to that, or I guess, Charles, we didn't even discuss, well, that's going to be a hybrid meeting.
Yeah, Mike, I was just going to quickly say we are sponsorship right now, commitments of 56,000, and I'm looking at my spreadsheet. I believe 7,500 of that is directed to field trips. That was Barrel, and then Edge Systems. And of course, we got a whole bunch of requests out there, and I think we're going to continue to get significant additional funding. And of course, Charles only had 48.5 in the budget.
Well, I think the cells themselves on the original had a formula in there that showed what we'd taken out, so that we didn't double count revenue on the field trips and other sponsorship things. As I recall, Charles.
Yes, that's right.
Okay. All right. Well, I don't think we have to have a motion to close the meeting, but I'm ready.
Ulysses has his hand raised, Mike.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, sir. Go ahead, sir.
Sorry, I just made a question on the chat, and that question is about the teaching awards. Here in the AMGP, we have like 2 or 3 possible candidates. So our question is, what is the deadline to make a formal proposal? And do we need to send some information about these people? I mean, a CV, resume, etc. Thank you. That's my question.
Thank you, sir. Mark's already left. The deadline was February 17th. Was that correct? Or did that get moved to March?
I think the deadline was February 13th.
It sounded like Mark wanted to move it.
February 20th.
Yeah, we were going to meet next Tuesday or next Monday, but we may delay that a week. It need to get done by the end of the month for sure. And I don't think there's a particular fixed form. This is Tom Ewing. But bring names and CV and some statement of endorsement. I mean, there's what it's for and why and all that. And then presumably somebody prepared to write a citation if it's accepted. That kind of material, and as soon as possible.
Okay, thank you very much. Here we have a particular situation with one of these guys. One of them just passed away recently in the last few days. So that's an exception. Post-mortem. Yeah, that's it.
Well, you can go ahead and submit. I'm not sure there's you normally don't do posthumous awards, but we might well. So I would go ahead and submit material, and then we can figure it out.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I had a question also.
Jeff, go ahead.
Austin Geological Society, if we want to have an exhibit booth, is there a deadline for that, and do you know what costs are going to be?
Charles?
Yes.
The question about the professional booth for the exhibitors.
Yes, well, I'm sorry. I just uploaded the ad. I was responding to the chat that asked if we're going to have the ad for the conference on the webpage. We're going to email it to everybody, and I just put it in the chat.
Okay.
I'm sorry. What was the question on the?
I mean, if I could say, if you go to the Feed Loop website, and I better get that link. You can choose your own booth online. And just say that, the Austin Geological Society wants to be an exhibitor, and we'll talk about, we weren't considering it going to be free. I think nonprofits were $750. So you can go to the Feed Loop website. It says exhibitor portal, and then you go in there, and I believe there's a drop-down menu. You say you're a not-for-profit, and you select your booth. I haven't done it myself, but really you can say where you want to be in the room. And then it checks out, and James Hawkins will see that, and we can communicate later if you want to change anything.
Okay.
So action item, we will send a follow-up email, the GeoGulf 23 team, with the ad, with the Feed Loop site, and with the convention site. There's two sites. The Feed Loop is mostly a registration site. The convention website has much more detailed information. And when you go to the convention website, if you want to if you hit the register button, it sends you to the Feed Loop site. So we'll send that in a follow-up email to everybody on Mike's distribution list.
Thank you.
Linda, did I see a hand come up there? Or were you?
No,
I'm
just
okay.
Point people that want to sponsor or exhibit to the Feed Loop site, which is feedloop.com/geogulf23/ it's a bit of a link. And there it will take care of your needs and paying and selecting booths.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments, or I think we're ready to wrap it up.
I think James Willis's hand is up.
Oh, he's behind my screen.
I've got a final question on the next board meeting. That was something that I wanted to mention on the budget, but we did need to get Mark out of there, so no big deal. But that meeting is as an association expense, not a convention expense.
Yes, good.
And I wonder in the times of trying to save money, does it make sense to actually just continue to hold the board meeting online? In Austin, we held the board meeting in the morning via Zoom of the convention rather than just to save money on getting a room and all of that. Because I don't remember what your line item is, but, at lunch and the room cost, it was a pretty good budget you had. And if we could save that for the association and or the convention, I think that'd be great.
Tom Ewing here. Comment on that. You'd like to save money and we'd like to be efficient. The problem is that we're not really getting the society presidents to tune into these meetings in a very systematic manner. And it's going to become a problem because the year after San Antonio really needs to be somewhere east of Houston. And if all we have is, Lafayette, then all we have is Lafayette. I'm not sure you want to do that. I want to see us get more of the participation. And is that better if we're online? Is it better if, you'd think it would be, except we don't necessarily see people. So maybe, or is it better in person because they're going to, they feel more of a sense of like somebody's going to notice if you're not there. I don't know. I throw that to everybody.
Well, I was wondering whether, another society could host.
I like the personal and to see people. Oh. Go ahead, Len.
Oh, I was just saying, if the eastern side of the societies could meet in Houston, but they could run the convention instead of the Houston group running the convention, because we have a pretty good relationship with the Norris Center. We kind of got a template going there. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out because, there's only a few societies that have enough people to even run a convention. And I don't know whether you can get much crowds to go, to say Shreveport or Lafayette or New Orleans. And so what they're doing up in AAPG is they're just having the convention in Houston all the time. They have a professionally managed convention. But if we had the opportunity where we would have it in a central place, but the other societies could run the convention.
Yeah, maybe a couple, like 2 or 3 a consortia of Eastern societies, NOGS, Shreveport, 1 or 2 others. There's a lot of interest in those basins, and maybe that's something to think about.
We certainly talked about it back in long-range planning and GeoGolf to possibly have a convention in Houston and people kind of take turns hosting it. The problem I'm seeing, though, is just physically getting participation and, voices on the table from the people who are involved. And that's what I'm worried about continuity-wise, in a sense, is, I'm going to have to go, beat on somebody in New Orleans to get them to tell me, to participate in GCAGS, and that really isn't right. So I don't know. I was putting it in terms of how we have the meeting, which is the initial issue here, but certainly offering to anybody who's doing it that's a possibility. We have a Norris Center here in San Antonio, so we're going to try doing it there pretty much on the same template. But they don't exist in Louisiana as far as I know. I think they're a Texas thing. So anyway, I'm not sure what the magic answer is, but we used to have, you never get perfect attendance, but we certainly got our core societies showing up, and I'm not sure between this meeting and the December meeting, whether we've achieved that or not.
Maybe the president needs to send out a notice to the local society. Light a fire out. Wonder. Actually, Tom, I'd like to talk with you about that offline, maybe.
Yeah. Well, we could pass a draft around or something, but I agree. I think we probably need some kind of almost a newsletter to the society presidents, and maybe to the societies in whole and whatever, but about some of these issues, and that this is their society, and and we're doing great things, and we're going to have a great convention, but we need to move it forward too. So.
Well, I've noted as an action item to get in touch with you, Tom.
Okay.
Maybe we can coordinate this effort. It's definitely a GCAGS problem, not a GeoGolf. Charles has got a lot to do with Brenda. So, okay. Well, let me try again, see if we're through talking here, or do we need to, James, you okay?
Yep.
All right, good. All right, well, I would certainly thank all of you for your faithfulness and for coming, and we'll do it again on the 23rd. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and start shutting down. Anybody?
All right.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody. Appreciate all the good feedback. And, really looking forward to keeping it going. So thank you, everybody.
Y'all take care. Bye-bye.
All right. Have a good weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Charles, are you going to end?
Oops. Oops, I ended the meeting.